I pulled the trigger on my mother-in-law's life savings with a single email, watching her empire crumble from the glow of my laptop screen in a dingy motel off I-95. It wasn't murder, but it felt close enough, cold, calculated, and utterly irreversible. And the best part? She handed me the ammunition herself, screaming for my wedding ring like it was her goddamn birthright, right there in the church basement after Jake's casket was wheeled away. That ring, 5 carats of canary diamond, flanked by sapphires that caught the light like Jake's crooked smile used to. He'd slipped it on my finger in a Vegas chapel 6 years ago, both of us half drunk on cheap bourbon and the reckless high of ditching our dead-end lives in Ohio for the promise of something bigger in Atlanta. I was Allison then, just 24, fresh out of community college with a nursing degree and dreams of stability that evaporated faster than the slot machine payouts. Jake was the charmer, the one who talked his way into a junior exec spot at his daddy's logistics firm, all southern drawl and easy lies. We were the poster kids for millennial fuck-ups chasing the American dream, until his mom, Evelyn Hargrove, decided she hated the poster. Evelyn. God. Even her name drips privilege, pulled taut like the facelift she'd gotten in some discreet clinic up in Buckhead. She was the queen bee of Hargrove Holdings, a mid-tier shipping conglomerate that Jake's grandfather bootstrapped from a single truck in the Depression. By the time I met her, Evelyn had clawed her way to CEO, outmaneuvering her own husband in a boardroom coup that left him sipping martinis in Palm Beach exile. She was all pearls and power suits, the kind of woman who quoted Ayn Rand at cocktail parties while lowballing her housekeepers. And me? I was the trailer trash nurse who snagged her golden boy with a push-up bra and a sob story about my junkie mom back in Dayton. Our wedding was a disaster from the jump. Evelyn footed the bill, insisted on it. Really? Like she was buying a thoroughbred instead of a daughter-in-law. The ceremony was at the Piedmont Driving Club. All crystal chandeliers and air-kissed hellos from Atlanta's old money crowd. I walked down the aisle in a gown that pinched like a vice, feeling every eye judging the faint tattoo peeking from my shoulder blade, a faded rose from my wilder days. Jake squeezed my hand at the altar, whispering, "Screw him, Allie. We're unbreakable." But Evelyn's toast? That was the first crack. To Jake and Allison, she said, her martini glass hovering like a guillotine. May love conquer all obstacles, even the unforeseen ones. I should have known then. The unforeseen was her code for me. The girl from the wrong side of the tracks who'd somehow tricked her son into forever. But it went deeper. Way deeper. Secrets buried under layers of Hargrove denial, the kind that fester like kudzu in Georgia clay. The first year was bliss, or what passed for it in our overmortgaged condo overlooking the Chattahoochee. Jake climbed the ladder at the firm, schmoozing clients over golf at Eastlake while I pulled 12-hour shifts at Grady Memorial, stitching up gangbangers and overdoses. We fought about money, always money, because Evelyn's generous wedding gift came with strings, a consulting gig for her at the firm that funneled cash back into her pockets. Jake defended her, blind as a bat to the manipulation. Mom's just looking out for us. Babe. Family sticks together. Family. What a crock. I learned the truth 6 months in, during a late-night inventory shift when my phone buzzed with a wrong number text. It was meant for Jake, cargo manifest for the '08 run, off books. Burn after. Love. M. M for mom. Curiosity's a bitch. I screenshotted it and dug. Turned out Evelyn's empire wasn't built on legitimate hauls. Back in the early 2000s, when Jake's dad was still in charge, she'd greenlit side deals, smuggling knockoff pharmaceuticals across the border, hidden in produce crates from Mexico. It was small potatoes then, but it snowballed. By the time Jake's dad had his heart attack, conveniently after the board vote, Evelyn was neck-deep, laundering profits through shell companies and bribing inspectors with envelopes of cash. And Jake? He knew. Not the full scope, but enough to sign off on manifests, enough to cash the checks that bought our condo. When I confronted him, tears streaming down my face in our kitchen that smelled like takeout lo mein, he just shrugged. It's not like we're hurting anyone, Allie. Mom says it's victimless, just business in America. Victimless. Tell that to the families who'd OD'd on the fentanyl-laced oxy that trickled north from those crates. I wanted out, divorce papers half-drafted on my laptop, but Jake begged. Give it time. I'll fix it. Lies. All of it. But love's a blindfold, and I tied it tighter, convincing myself I could play the good wife, the fixer. I started skimming records at the firm during visits, building a digital trail on a burner drive hidden in my locker at the hospital. Evidence. For the day I'd need it. Because Evelyn? She never stopped testing me. It escalated after I got pregnant. Miscarriage at 12 weeks. Blamed it on stress. But deep down, I knew it was the poison of that house. Evelyn threw a sympathy brunch at her Buckhead manse. All finger sandwiches and pitying glances from her garden club witches. That's when she first eyed my ring. Darling, she cooed, refilling my mimosa with non-alcoholic fizz like I was a child. That bauble looks so gaudy on you. Jake picked it out himself. You know. From Tiffany's. With my guidance. Her fingers brushed mine as she admired it. Nails like talons. I yanked back, heart pounding. It's mine now, Evelyn. Till death do us part. She laughed. A trill like breaking glass. Oh, Allison. Death has a funny way of parting fools. Foreshadowing? Hell yes. Jake died 18 months later. Car wreck on 285. Rush hour pileup blamed on a semi's bad brakes. He was coming home from a client dinner, code for one of Evelyn's off-books drops at a warehouse indicator. Toxicology came back, clean. But I knew better. Bruises on his arms from the dash. A burner phone shattered in the glove box with texts from M. Be careful tonight. Loose ends tie knots. The cops ruled it accident. Insurance paid out, Hargrove policy. Ironclad. But I saw the sabotage in the tampered brake lines. Confirmed by a shady mechanic buddy who owed me from Grady days. Evelyn played the grieving widow mom to perfection. Funeral at St. Philip's Cathedral. Black veil and all. Eulogy about Jake's untimely, light snuffed too soon. She hugged me on stage, whispering, "We'll get through this, dear. For the family." Bullshit. 2 weeks later, at the reading of the will, Jake's modest estate, plus a life insurance kicker she'd co-signed as beneficiary, she cornered me in the lawyer's oak-paneled office. The ring, Allison. It reverts to the estate. Jake's grandmother's diamonds. Heirlooms. You understand. I laughed. Actually laughed. A hollow bark that echoed off the law books. Over my cold, dead finger. Evelyn. Her eyes narrowed. That Randian steel glinting. Don't test me, girl. You've been a placeholder long enough. Jake's gone. Now it's time to clean house. That was the spark. The betrayal hit like a gut punch, not just the ring, but the implication. Placeholder. As if our life, Our love was her disposable asset. But the real knife? The secret I'd buried deeper than Jake's coffin. The one I'd taken the fall for. Years back. To protect him. To protect us. It started pre-wedding. That unforeseen obstacle Evelyn hinted at. Jake's firm had botched a shipment. Real this time. No smuggling. Just incompetence. A load of medical supplies to Haiti post-earthquake. Rerouted by customs glitch. Rotting in a Miami dock. Donors sued. Headline screamed, Hargrove heartlessness. Evelyn needed a scapegoat. Jake was her heir. Untouchable. So she pinned it on the new hire, me. I'd barely started interning part-time. But she forged emails. Planted logs showing I'd overridden the routing. I took the heat. Settled out of court with a gag order. My nursing dreams deferred while I licked wounds in our apartment. Jake promised payback. I'll make it right. Allie. Mom's just scared.
Scared. Right.
It was her first lesson in control. And I'd swallowed it whole.
But now,
with Jake in the ground and her claws out for my last tether to him, the gag was off. I had the drive, the manifests, the brake schematics from my mechanic pal. And one more ace, the DNA test I'd run on Jake's accident samples. Brake fluid laced with antifreeze, Evelyn's garage staple. Traced to her Mercedes. Revenge isn't a sprint, it's a marathon of misery. I started small. Anonymous tips to the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. Sources say Hargrove Holdings linked to opioid influx. Stock dipped 3%. Evelyn called. Voice syrupy over speakerphone while I packed Jake's clothes for Goodwill. Allison.
Dear.
Have you seen the papers? Such vicious lies. If you hear anything. I play dumb.
Oh.
Evelyn. The world's so cruel. Next. I leaked the old Haiti logs to a PI firm specializing in corporate whistleblowing. They sued on behalf of the donors, naming Evelyn personally. Her board panicked, emergency meeting at the club, where she reportedly hurled a Waterford decanter at the wall. I imagined her face, flushed under the Botox. Pearls askew. Priceless. But she fought dirty. As always. My nursing license got flagged. Anonymous complained about questionable ethics from my scapegoat days. Grady put me on leave. Bills piled like storm debris. Then the real gut shot. A process server at my door with eviction papers. Evelyn had bought our condo through a trust, foreclosing on the mortgage I'd co-signed in blissful ignorance. Family asset, the note read in her looping script. Time to move on. Homeless. Jobless. Ring-clutching, I crashed at a cousin's in Macon, plotting from a folding table amid kids' toys and TV din. That's when I went nuclear. The email. Compiled dossier. Manifests. Texts. DNA traces. Even Jake's pre-death voice memos I'd secretly recorded, confessing Evelyn's lessons in the dark. Sent to the DOJ's Antitrust Division. SEC whistleblower line. And cherry on top, every Hargrove board member. With a personal note to Evelyn, the ring stays with me. But your throne? That's forfeit.
Love.
The placeholder. Her face when she learned? I didn't see it live. But the security cam feed from the boardroom, hacked via a disgruntled IT guy Jake once mentored, was better than front row. She stormed in, heels clicking like gunfire, slamming her laptop open to the leaked files. Who did this? Silence. Then murmurs. Her consigliera, old man Hargrove Sr.'s ghost in a cheap suit, cleared his throat. Looks ironclad.
Evie.
Feds are already sniffing. She deflated. Just for a second, shoulders slumping. That queenly facade cracking like cheap veneer. Then rage. She swept the table. Papers flying. Screaming. That little bitch. Allison. I'll bury her. But the board was done. Votes tallied. She was out. Ousted in a coup mirroring her own from decades back. Stock plummeted 22% by close. Headlines screamed, Hargrove heiress toppled by smuggling scandal. I watched from the motel, nursing a lukewarm Zima, the ring heavy on my finger. Victory tasted like ash. Jake's ghost haunted the pixels, his laugh in those memos. His blind faith in her. Was I avenging him? Or just unleashing the monster she'd made of me? Cops came for her at dawn. Perp walk in Chanel. No veil this time. But here's the twist. The one that keeps me up at 3 a.m., staring at the ring's facets like they're lie detectors. The brake tampering? Not Evelyn. My mechanic confessed. Tearful over burner phone. Jake did it himself. Insurance fraud. To cash in big for our future, the baby we'd lost. The life he couldn't provide without her shadow. He begged the guy to frame it as accident, but the antifreeze trace? Careless. Like everything he touched. Evelyn knew. Covered it up, her loose ends text a warning. Not a command. So who betrayed who? I took the fall for her sins, but shielded his. She built an empire on bones. He crumbled it for greed.
Me?
I torched the ruins, but the smoke's in my lungs forever. Last I heard, Evelyn's rotting in federal lockup, penning memoirs about corporate martyrdom. I sold the ring, anonymous auction, wired to a trust for Hades' kids.
Kept the sapphires.
Reset into a pendant that burns against my chest. America's dream.
Right?
Pull yourself up. Burn the ladder. But whose hands are really clean? The feds didn't waste time. By week 2 post-leak, Evelyn's arraignment hit the local news like a freight train, handcuffs glinting under courtroom fluorescents. Her lawyer from some white shoe firm sputtering motions while reporters scribbled like vultures. I caught it on a library computer in Macon, the screen's blue glow turning my face ghostly in the stacks. There she was, chin up, mouthing no comment to the mics shoved in her grill. But her eyes, those ice blue chips that used to pin me like a bug, darted frantic, scanning the crowd. Looking for me? Maybe. Or Jake's ghost. I should have felt triumph, a fist pump in that musty public space. Instead, nausea rolled, hot and sour. Because revenge? It's not the Hollywood snap, confetti and credits. It's the slow bleed, questions gnawing like termites in drywall. Had I really avenged him? Or just orphaned a dozen low-level schmucks who'd lose jobs to the layoffs? Hargrove Holdings restructured under new blood. But the trucks still rumbled. Crates still crossed borders. Only now, the poison flowed unchecked. No queen to orchestrate the flow. My cousin Rita, big-hearted redhead with a double-wide and 3 rugrats, tried to talk sense over instant coffee that tasted like regret. Allie, honey, you did what you had to. That woman's a viper. But her eyes said different. Pity, mixed with that southern wariness of kin who stirs the pot. Word traveled fast in family chains. My aunties in Dayton were already whispering about the Hargrove curse, how I'd married money and brought it all crashing down. As if I was the villain, not the avenger. Job hunt was a joke. Grady called back. Administrative leave lifted. But the stink lingered. Ethics review cleared you, Allison.
But.
Optics. Translation. In Atlanta's tight-knit medical scene, whispers kill faster than scalpels. I tempied at a clinic in Warner Robins, wiping down exam tables between flu shots. The ring's ghost weight on my bare finger a constant itch. Sold a quick. Yeah. But the phantom gleam haunted, every glint of chrome in the stirrups a reminder of what I'd torched. Nights blurred into bourbon-fueled scrolls through court docs, public records unearthed like grave dirt. Evelyn's empire unraveled thread by thread, indictments for wire fraud, conspiracy, even a RICO tag for the smuggling ring. Her Palm Beach exile dad testified, bitter as week-old collards, spilling how she'd iced him out post-coup, forging his signature on dummy core. The board's new chair, a slick Yale boy named Preston who'd golfed with Jake, issued a statement. A dark chapter closes. Integrity prevails.
Bull.
He was her protege, just rebranded. But the real gut twist came in deposition leaks. Evelyn, under oath, didn't crumble.
No.
She flipped the script, Machiavellian to the marrow. My son, she testified, voice steady as a preacher's, was the architect. Jake handled the manifests, the drops. I turned a blind eye. For love of family.
Lies.
Polished to a sheen. But the evidence? Ambiguous enough, his signatures on half the files. His text to her mom. Green light on the Miami reroute. Prosecutors wavered. Her plea deal floated. Time served for cooperation. I seethed in that trailer. Rita's kids thumping overhead like accusations. Jake. My Jake. Painted as the kingpin? The boy who'd cry during It's a Wonderful Life reruns. Who sketched dumb cartoons of us as superheroes in his notebooks.
No.
But the memos I'd leaked, his confessions, they fed her narrative. Victim of a son's ambition, her lawyer spun to the press. Sympathy swelled. A GoFundMe for Evelyn's legal battle hit six figures from old money donors. Atlanta elite closed ranks. Cocktail chatter turning her into a martyr. Enough. I needed air. Distance. Drove north on 75. Windows down. Wind whipping my hair like freedom's lash. Dayton called, Mom's old trailer. Now a rental to some welder with a pit bull. I crashed there. Walls thin as promises. Ghosts thicker than humidity. Mom's overdose shadow loomed. She'd OD'd on the same street fentanyl that Evelyn's crates had seeded. Irony? Or karma's cruel joke? That's when the PI pinged my old contact. The one who'd verified the breaks. Allie? Off record. Your hubby's scheme? Bigger than insurance. He was skimming too, diverting product for a side hustle. Fencing to local crews. Thought he could outrun Mom's game. Proof attached. Bank wires to offshore accounts. Jake's alias, Jade Hawk, popping in dark web forums. My stomach dropped. Our future fund? Blood money. Twice removed. Betrayal layered like sedimentary rock. Evelyn's foundation. Jake's folly on top. My blindness capping it. I'd gambled everything on us. Taken her fall to shield him. Only for him to carve my heart out posthumously. The drive back south was a blur. Rain sheeting the windshield like tears I couldn't shed. Pulled over at a Waffle House off 85. Drowning hash browns in ketchup. Plotting phase 2. Revenge 2.0, not leaks.
But lobs.
I lawyered up, pro bono from a women's advocacy group in Atlanta. Sharp as a scalpel and hungry for corporate scalps. Sued the estate as Jake's widow. Claiming undue influence on the will. Fraud in the condo buyout. Discovery unearthed gold. Evelyn's emails to the lawyer. Twisting arms for the ring reversion clause. Ensure the tramp gets nothing. one red. Tramp. My blood boiled, but the judge, a no-nonsense black woman from East Point, ate it up. Emotional distress? Ma'am. This borders on harassment. Evelyn's camp countered vicious. Character assassination via planted stories. Nurses past haunts Hargrove's scandal. The AJC ran. Dredging my mom's addiction. My tattoo as gang ink. Anonymous sources claimed I'd pushed Jake into the fraud. Public splintered. Reddit threads lit up. r/am I the asshole polls on ATA for tanking Emile's empire after she stole my ring? Scores hovered 50 out of 50. Commenters raging. She's a gold digger playing victim versus Emile's a monster. Get hers. The hearing was circus. Buckhead courthouse packed. Evelyn in spectator row. Veil swapped for designer shades. Our eyes locked as I took the stand, her lip curling like she'd tasted rot. Mrs. Hargrove demanded my wedding ring at the funeral luncheon. I testified. Voice steady despite the quake in my gut. Claimed it as family property, but it symbolized my marriage to Jake. Our marriage. Not hers. Gasps rippled. Her lawyer objected. Sustained. But the seed planted. She testified next. A masterclass in deflection. Allison was unstable. Always. After the miscarriage.
She changed.
Accused me of poisoning her. For heaven's sake. Gasps again. This time laced with doubt. The judge adjourned, but the whispers followed me out. Did she really say that? Sounds like Munchausen. That night. Alone in a halfway house bunk, Rita's trailer too hot with questions, I cracked. Dialed Evelyn's jail line.
Collect.
She accepted. Voice silk over static. Allison. To what do I owe the pleasure? You know why, I hissed. Stop lying about Jake. Laughter. Low and knowing. Darling. Truth's subjective. He was my son, flawed. Like his father. You're the wild card I never saw coming.
Pause.
Then the hook. But ask yourself, did you ever wonder why I let you take the Haiti fall? Not mercy.
No.
Leverage. One word from me. And your nursing license? Gone forever. Ice in my veins. You bitch. Practicality.
Allison.
And now, you've burned us all. Enjoy your pyre.
Click. Sleepless till dawn.
Her words looping like a bad country tune. Leverage. I'd been her pawn longer than I dreamed. Strings pulled from shadows. Chow Treo brewed at the settlement conference, neutral ground. A conference room in Midtown smelling of stale coffee and desperation. Evelyn. Out on bond. Swept and flanked by suits. Me with my pro bono firebrand. Terms on table. She kept the condo. I got the ring's appraised value plus defamation, hush money. But the air crackled. Factions forming even there, her team eyeing me like trash. Mine like underdogs. Then the bomb. My lawyer slid over Jake's side hustle files. Counter. Fraud against the estate. Your client knew. Evelyn blanched. First real crack, powder caking her cheeks like war paint smudged. Objection irrelevant, her lead barked. But I leaned in. Voice a whisper for her ears. Truth hurts.
Huh.
Like when you covered his wreck. Her eyes widened, then narrowed to slits. He did it for you.
Allison.
The baby. Our family.
Our.
As if. The room spun into chaos, motions flying. Adjournments called. Outside. In the lobby's brutalist concrete. She cornered me. No guards. Just us. rain pattering the glass dome like hesitant applause. Give it up, she snarled. Close enough for Chanel no. 5 to choke me. The files. All of them. Or I spill your complicity in the schemes. You balance those books. Girl.
Bluff.
Or was it Jake's late nights? My help with spreadsheets.
God.
How deep did the rot go? I took your fall once, I shot back. Never again. Her hand shot out, not slap, but grab. Nails digging my wrist. The ring.
Give it to me. Now. Gun.
But the ghost grip lingered. Priceless. Evelyn. Like your face right now. She released, stepping back. Composure fracturing. You think you've won? You're as broken as he was. Maybe. But as she turned, heels echoing defeat, I felt the split. Readers, watchers, whoever. Team Allison, the scrappy survivor? Or Team Evelyn, the fallen titan clinging to legacy? No heroes here. Just survivors clawing from the same grave. The settlement stuck like gum on hot asphalt, sticky, unavoidable, pulling threads loose. I walked with a check for $250K, enough to buy a starter bungalow in Cabbagetown, Atlanta's artsy fringe where hipsters rehabbed shotgun shacks and breweries pumped IPAs like Salvation. No condo grandeur, but walls that were mine. No strings from Hargrove ghosts. The pro bono crew high-fived in the courthouse hall. You slayed. Allison. Corporate Goliath down. But victory's aftertaste? Bitter as black coffee. No sugar. Evelyn's plea deal finalized midsummer. 5 years federal. Minimum security in Alderson, West Virginia. The camp cupcake where Martha Stewart did time. No trial circus. Just a quiet hearing where she allocuted, voice flat as a judge's gavel. I accept responsibility for my actions. The clip ran on scene. Her face gaunt under the lights.
Pearls swapped for a plain gold chain.
Comment sections exploded. Finally. Some accountability. Versus. Witch hunt. She built that company from nothing. Polarized. As America loves. No nuance. Just tribes yelling past each other. I didn't watch live. Too busy unpacking in my new place. Boxes of Jake's sketches. My nursing scrubs starched crisp for the fresh start at a clinic in Little 5 Points. Patients there were different, baristas with anxiety scripts, artists nursing hangovers. A far cry from Grady's ER carnage. Stability. Finally. Or so I lied to the mirror each morning, ignoring the pendant's cool weight against my collarbone, sapphires winking like accusatory eyes. But Evelyn wasn't done scheming. Letters started, pristine stationery, postmarked from the prison commissary. First one arrived with my first paycheck. Dearest Allison, enclosed is a token of reconciliation. Jake would want us healed. Your loving Mil.
E. Inside.
A check for $10K. Scrawled for the nursery we never had. Creepy as hell. But the math?
Tempting.
Bills from the suit. Rita's loan for the trailer couch. It blurred the lines. I shredded it, but doubt-seated. Next came the memoir pitch, her lawyer's card clipped to page proofs. Empire of Shadows, A Mother's Reckoning. Excerpts leaked online, chapters on the gold digger bride who seduced my boy with sob stories, painting me as Lady Macbeth in Scrubs. Sales projected blockbuster, Netflix sniffing for series rights. Public flipped again, podcast dissected. Was Allison the real puppet master? My clinic coworkers side-eyed. Whispers in the break room. Heard she tanked a whole company. Isolation crept. Insidious as humidity. Rita called from Macon. Aunties say you're cursed.
Allie.
Married death. I laughed it off. But nights alone. Pendant in hand. Jake's voice echoed from those memos. Mom's the rock.
Babe.
Without her. Without her.
What?
We'd have crumbled anyway. His greed the accelerant. Twist hit like a curveball in the ninth, another PI tip. This one gratis from guilt. Allison. Check the trust docs from the will. Jake amended last month. Beneficiary switch. Heart slamming. I pored over scans. Our future fund. The offshore nest egg from his schemes. Redirected to Evelyn.
Not me.
To mother. For safekeeping.
Love. G.
Safekeeping. As if I was the loose end. Rage. Pure and volcanic. He'd played me posthumously, funneling our dream back to her web. The miscarriage money. The Vegas ring fund. All hers. I drove to Alderson unannounced. 3 hours of mountain twists. Lungs tight as the turns. Visitor log stamped. Pat down perfunctory. She waited in the sterile room. Orange jumpsuit clashing with her coif. Still somehow regal. Allison. No surprise. Just that knowing smile. Come to gloat. I slid the amendment across the formica. Explain. Her eyes flicked down. Then up. Amusement flickering.
Ah.
The final betrayal. Jake always was sentimental. Thought I'd protect it for you. Eventually. But you forced my hand with the leaks. Leverage.
Dear.
Again. You covered his murder-suicide. I whispered. Voice cracking. For this? Wreck, she corrected.
Mild.
And yes. Family first. You understand that now.
Don't you?
The pendant his stones. You're wearing my chain too. I touched it. Instinctive, sapphires from her guidance at Tiffany's. Received by my hunt. Complicit. The room spun. Factions blurring. Her the monster. Him the fool. Me the mirror. Why the letters? The check. A shrug. Redemption's narrative sells.
And you?
You're the foil. Plucky widow versus fallen queen. America eats it up. I stood. Chair scraping like a verdict. Enjoy your cell, Evelyn. The truth's out. But as guards led her away, back straight, she called over shoulder. Is it? Or did you just rewrite it for your side? Back home. Pendant discarded in a drawer. I pen my own tell-all, anonymous blog. Raw as road rash. The ring and the reckoning. A widow's unfiltered fall. Posts went viral. Jake's sketches scanned. Memos transcribed. My Hades scapegoat scars bared. The comments flooded. Empathy. Outrage. Armchair therapy. You're both victims of the system.
Nah.
She's as shady as them, admit it. The split deepened. Debates raging in bars and timelines. No clear villain. Just flawed Americans clawing for air in a rigged game. Netflix came calling my story. Not hers. I turned it down. Money's a trap. Truth's the only ring worth keeping. Last hook. Months later. A package. Evelyn's forwarding address.
Post-release. Inside.
A single sapphire earring. Note. One for the road. We match now. I stared. Then flushed it, blue swirl in porcelain.
Gone.
Karma? Or truce? You decide.
Me?
I drive 285 daily. Brakes humming true. Wondering if the real revenge was surviving the crash.